I'm that girl who knows that the evacuation of a planet takes quite a lot of planning preparation. And this is evident when we have many sessions where we're hearing from the subconscious, explaining to the client what they're doing in their dream state, what is going to be happening to them soon, and why, and how it is translated into physical evidence of what is happening to their bodies now. And so not only are our bodies changing at a rapid rate, but also the density that is within the bodies. And how we will notice the density that is within the bodies is by that lower emotions. The denser emotions come out to play. And sometimes we're triggered deeply into feeling that density, to match that density, to be able to help heal and uplift it. And this is being evident through many people who have great balance and great neutrality and great inner peace. And then they get exposed to something that does bottom out their vibrations to then match other density. And so often these people are wondering, why am I being triggered now? I love my inner peace. Why now? Why frick now? And so it's all purposeful. Yeah, we've heard that before, right? We've all heard that everything is purposeful. And so what we think is happening to us personally, that is lowering our vibrations, and we're just feeling this density and we have to work our way through it. So much is happening behind the scenes, which we are often told. But when we do sessions, we ask, what the heck was that and why? And so they are Mr. Chatty. They're very helpful for us now to understand it, to be able to release the density. And so I had a really big session last night where a lot of density was removed and released because it really wasn't serving the person, and it really no longer was their energy anyway. And so these sessions are really fantastic to be able to release the density. And I know many of you are now getting quite tempted into having your own sessions with interns or whomever. And this is fantastic time because it is profound what happens in these sessions. And you may have to have a few of them if you are not able to release and surrender and to let go. And many people feel safe having full control of themselves. They don't even want to let and surrender and control to their subconsciouses because that would still scare them. And so surrender into yourself and stop being controlling. Don't know who that's for, but I say that with love, and so does your teams. And so, sometimes we control ourselves so much that we limit ourselves. And, we've heard this many times in sessions where you're holding on to something so tight, you don't let go. And in the session yesterday, they said, when you start seeing waves the size of the sky and your body knows it is not survivable, what will you do? Will you fight? Will you resist? Will you try to swim? Will you try to escape it? What will your motives be? What will you feel like you want to be? So I know this is very scary for many people who have had Lemuria and Atlantis lifetimes thinking about the waves, because that has been a very traumatic experience for them because they had no preparation really to have those exit points. So there's a lot of trauma there. And so it seems like when we tap into it, it's not even a real wave. It's the illusion of a wave, but your body doesn't know that. Your body fully realizes that that is unsurvivable. Something so grand like that is going to, really shake and shock you. And so this is what I feel like Dolores Cannon was sort of saying, when things start happening, when the shift starts occurring, surrender in, release and let go. Because if you try to fight it, it's going to be so much harder. And we sort of thought maybe it was an emotional, literal, we sort of, sometimes people think, oh, all of these sessions are just symbolic for other meanings and blah, 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 blah. But if you are seriously confronted with the wave that's the size of the sky, and it's coming towards you, and you cannot escape it, it's not possible. For me personally, I wouldn't be able to collect up all three of my little preschool kids and, the dog and the cats and be able to rally everyone together. Obviously I'm including my partner in that, but it's a big feat to collect everyone together to be prepared and brace yourself for certain things like that. So big times ahead. And so what are you prepared for? Many people want to go to the new earth, but they don't want to actually experience the shift. And so if you're not wanting to, if you're not wanting to have those exit points like that and surrender the body and release the body, because it seems like once you have that confrontation of a big wave, for example, and this is not going to be for everyone, it's location based. So whoever lives on the old earth experience has to be convinced and understand and see it as if it was a wave that took out a lot of their population, right? So, what they really heavily stated yesterday in the session was you're all going to experience different things based on your location. And so the people that exit with lasers, they're not going to be told about things after the laser, right? Because they're not having the old earth experience. And so, many subconsciouses don't want to spill the beans and say they're exiting with the laser. So it gets a bit confusing for many people. And then people who are having exit points before the laser, they're not going to be told about the laser either. So, it's a good practitioner that can really navigate through all of those perceptions to be able to understand what's really going on, especially if the client wants to know the order of things. But as we know, sometimes the orders do change around as things have to unfold. And what they really seriously told us yesterday, it's about having enough opportunities for experiences for these people that are here now to be able to either dip themselves into density, to build themselves up, to be able to stop distracting themselves with the disinformation, stop going with the narratives and the routines. But many of them are stubborn because often they have criticized and belittled other people for trying to tell them this is the case. And so if you've belittled and judged people trying to tell you the truth for quite some time, and then suddenly you're noticing it yourself, and suddenly you've realized that you should have been able to see it, but because of your stubbornness, you've been really hesitant to be open to it because you've judged others. When you start noticing it yourself, you either go stubborn and go, no, I'm not going to, because I'm always going to be right. And I said that person was a fool then, and even though I can see that they're actually truth, and they actually were trying to advise me and help me, I'm so stubborn with my ego, I'm going to just pretend that, I didn't judge them and criticize them and belittle them. And I'm just going to continue on and ignore the fact that it's very obvious what's happening now, but I will just, I'll just go with it, because doing anything is going to be too hard. And I don't want to do anything that's hard. I just want to still go on with the narrative. It seems like the teams are trying to give these people all of these opportunities to awaken. And so they're getting more and more dramatic, and you're really having to be quite stubborn at this point if you are still not wanting to accept what's going on around you, just because you don't want to have to say, oh, I'm sorry, yeah, now I can see what you're saying. And they're afraid that person's going to be like, I told you so, or whatever. And so it seems like a lot of people who are aware of big information are really used to getting so much information given to them, maybe disinformation and maybe truth, that they just are used to just swiping and dismissing all information. And so what the information that was coming through in yesterday's session was people are so used to discarding any new information, they're often throwing out the truth, because they want to just have their routines. They just want to keep normal status quo. And so they have been making people be shaken out of their routines to be able to notice. And it seems like people will not awaken unless it impacts them directly. And this was a big thing. Humans are so focused on their own personal lives that they have to personally be impacted somehow, some way, for them to be able to see the truth that's right in front of them. And they're not motivated. They're not motivated unless it impacts them directly. So it's lots of information. I'm still I feel like energetically I'm still buzzing in this high from all this information. So I do need to re-listen back to the session and be able to to explain other things that I feel like are important that they want you to know, but it's a process, and they're sort of saying that lots of people who are hearing this information cannot absorb the information or apply the information. And so they have to wait until bigger events occur for them to realize, oh, shoot, okay, so this is actually unfolding as they said. And so many people only can retain one thing, which is interesting. Which was, the shift, the evolution, and the shifting of the earth. And they may forget all the other details and all the other purposes and all the lessons and all of the stuff that's all in the sessions, but all they need to be able to kind of keep their balance and focus with is, oh, this must be the shift they're talking about, which I even denied myself, for example. So lots of people hear these sessions and then just dismiss them. No, that's new information. No, I'm not going to buy into that. That's not what I've heard before. And the reaction, the knee-jerk reaction to hearing new information is instant dismissal and denial. No. So then you have to then impact and have the experience yourself to then start understanding. And we all seem to want proof, right? We all seem to want proof. Oh, I don't believe in aliens. I never saw them. They don't land on my backyard. I'm feeling very hypo, so sorry. Is this real big pressure crunch, isn't it? And I know lots of people want to justify their growth and them stepping up because they're like, I'm on my own journey, respect where I'm at, it's not a journey, it's not a race. And they're saying it's, yeah, that's true. It's your own journey. You choose the pace that you go. But we are on like a time pressure cooker. And so where is humanity in its totality going to evolve and get to a higher frequency so then they can all shift together? So it's kind of like they're waiting for humanity to get to this frequency vibration. So then it's a better transition. So they're wanting humanity to like be mature and responsible and love each other and all this sort of stuff and raise their vibration, right? So we all have to manually raise our vibrations for us to shift. But then people get distracted and they get stuck in fear and it lowers their vibration. So all together, we're supposed to be focusing and being responsible for bringing our vibrations up as high as we can. So then that will be the tipping point for us to then be able to shift. And so they're saying lots of this healing and this trauma and this karma has to be played out to be able to be experienced and released and healed. I feel like there's so much, again, there's so much information that has been poured out because it feels like it's coming very soon and they're wanting people to be more prepared for it. And so they're giving people so many opportunities and so many experiences to awaken up. It's getting quite intensive. And it's very hard for those people who are aware of everything to like, why are people not noticing this? They are noticing it, but they don't want to do anything about it. And so it has to impact them personally. And so people who listen to these sessions or not, they all can feel something big is coming and they have hope that something better is coming, but they don't quite know what it is. And so we hear after the main shift, in some locations, they won't have power, for example. And so for those people, they just have to try and remember what they've heard in sessions or what, they've kind of understood about moving to the new earth, because when most people think the new earth is already here, they're not prepared for big destructions. They're not prepared for big disasters because, well, that doesn't align with my reality. I'm not okay with that. And so a lot of people are suddenly aware then that there is something more happening and that potentially you may not be on the new earth here. So, it's big awakenings to many different layers. And so unfortunately, as we asked, do we really still have to have the laser? And they're like, people will not get out of their routines and they're not motivated to raise their vibrations without that. And so it needs to be so dramatically disruptive for people to stop their routines. And it feels like it goes into a real big grinding halt. And it is just, It's just shocking. And, often we want to go into denial and be like, oh, can we just change that? We still don't want to have that. Thank you. And then they just say, well, what else is going to awaken humanity? Because the rate that humanity is awakening versus the rate this planet is declining, it's not matching. And they wanted it to all be in balance and nice, but right now there's still this massive polarity, and so that's why they're having to manually remove and manually evacuate this planet. And so they are sort of, it wasn't their design, but they are, they're rolling with it, and they're being flexible with it, and they're supporting everyone who needs to be supported. And so what they're trying to work out now is how to best shift people the way that they want to shift people. And so because you're not dying, there's a different process to it. And so while you are merging into the crystalline bodies and shifting, there's a different step. And lots of people think, oh, I hope New Earth is just heaven. That would be fantastic because I love heaven. And I say, we've asked so many times, is the New Earth heaven? Have we all just really just died? Like, what's the difference? And there's a huge difference. So we're evolving from this life experience, and we're going to the New Earth for those who are going to the New Earth. And you're still, most of you are all still staying and sticking with families. It's all, significant. Those families that you're close with now, it's purposeful. Many family members that sort of feel like really distant and you're just not engaging with each other. There's a sign, my friends, that, potentially you're going in different paths and you're disconnecting from each other. And that is, it's everything so purposeful. So it seems like when people go to the New Earth, they have a settling in period, and they have like just a detox from the 3D, and they're still a family unit on the 3D for those families that are choosing to go together. And then you get to experience the New Earth together and live out what you would want to sort of live out in terms of relationships and lessons from each other. And then you get to start having more of your memories come back, and there's a whole new other process and information that we're hearing about how you regain it. Because could you imagine suddenly, boom, you've got full memory back? The veil's been ripped off and you remember everything. That is quite a journey. It is more shocking than like a Kundalini experience that is like a profound awakening. I mean, people who have like a profound awakening to this lifetime, you want that in small little pieces because it's way too much. And so it seems like they're learning how to process and gently get people acclimatized to the fact that you're on a new planet and that you have a new body, but you're still the same soul essences that are living your best, crystalline bodies lives. And then you as a family choose whether, when you're ready to start gaining more information from other lifetimes. And so you don't just get it flooded in, just like how lots of people think as soon as you go to New Earth, you can start manipulating energy and all this sort of stuff and creating things, blah, 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 blah. You have to go slowly. You're not going to be given, not for all people are going to be given their massive skill sets all suddenly back. Some people will definitely get and regain some of their natural skill sets that they have learned from other lifetimes, and they are equipped to do that. But when we're starting to hear the real specific details of the evolution of the settling in period for the New Earth, it's fascinating. It's really extraordinary. And there's just so much information to it that I feel is fantastic. And it is just exciting times. And humanity definitely deserves this evolution for sure. But humanity is still in this last phase of squeezing out the density, squeezing out the trauma, squeezing out all of this stuff. And while many people are not wanting to do their inner work, us light workers or the empaths or whomever you want to call those people who are here to be of service, they're taking on a lot of extra density and a lot of extra trauma to hold it and to take it away from people who, and it no longer serves them. And so energetically, you're absorbing their density to be able to transmute it for yourself. And it gives them this reprieve for them to be able to relax and not have that density and have an opportunity to empower themselves. Now, if they're looping and they've got really negative behaviors and self-talk or self-belief systems, they will then go back and repeat that density. and they will keep creating more density for them because that's what they're used to. They got negative behavioral patterns and belief systems, and so they will just gain back that density again. And so it seems like this is what our high dimensional beings are always sending, this profound high frequency vibrations to uplift us. And while it's great and we can drop a little bit of our density, we're still having our mindsets of negativity, and we're still buying into adding more density for ourselves. And it seems like when we are removing density from other people and transmuting it and kind of like lightening their load, they have choices. They either, and they can do this unconsciously. So they can feel really good and at a higher frequency. And so then they may be uplifted and inspired to be able to see things from a bigger perspective and grow that seed and be able to mature that way. Or they have the choice of, this feels uplifting. I don't like uplifting. I want more negativity. So they will keep seeking out negativity. They'll create the dramas and the negativity for themselves to be able to feel balanced, because that's their natural, normal balance, is that density. So, there's lots going on. But can you imagine from the perspective of our teams, if they're constantly supporting you energetically and you're constantly choosing to find the negative, and you're wanting to replace, undo all their hard work, it gets very draining for them, and it gets very draining for others. And this is why a lot of light workers are finding themselves exhausted, because you're holding on to a lot of higher frequency to be able to transmute that and share that out energetically. And as you're high vibing everyone, you're also collecting a lot of, it's like a little vacuum. You blow high frequency at them and you suck up all that density, and you're doing this all without even noticing. You're doing it, in the comfort of your own home, to your communities. You're doing it at the supermarket and when you're driving roads and on roads and all this sort of stuff. So, there's so much going on. And as they said, there's so much going on behind the scenes, but we don't notice that at all. Or we just think, oh, that day I just felt a little bit down. Don't really know what was happening, but I'm out of it and I'm grateful. And then when you find out in sessions that you were servicing hundreds of people from that experience of whatever, it's all really, really, really fantastic. And the other thing I got to hear in the session yesterday was about how we could heal time from the past. And it was a parallel lifetime, and it was years ago. And because in a session we went and we healed and helped that person with that really traumatic experience. So we're here in the now, and they were in, let's just say 10 years ago. And we went in and we gave them love and healing, and that changed their course, because they needed that help. And we're not changing their free will, because they just were not able to do it themselves. And because this was all agreed upon with the subconscious, because it's a parallel life, it was all permitted. We're not coming in and screwing over people. We're helping them. We're removing that density. And because of that density was being removed, then that changed the life course of that person into a higher perspective, in terms of they got profound healing, which was a tangible thing, which could help them profoundly. And that is quite mind-blowing when you know that, because all of those boxes in that room are still open, right? And so all of those boxes are still gaining new information and new experiences. And we haven't sealed the boxes of those lives or those years yet. And so it's still open for editing and tweaking. And so this is why they're really, 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 really wanting us to do these sessions, to be able to release anything that no longer serves you in this lifetime or all the other lifetimes you've ever lived, and including all of your family members. Please release all that no longer serves them in this lifetime and all the other lifetimes that they lived, and including all your friends and acquaintances and all the people you experienced in those lifetimes. May they be now able to release all that no longer serves them in this lifetime and all the other lifetimes they ever lived. Can you imagine the power of that? And it just goes out and ripples and heals and adjusts all of those timelines of those experiences, all those boxes, or whatever you want to be able to understand the process and the concepts of time. And so while the time and the history of Earth is still here open, there is great opportunities for growth and healing. Of course, we can't We can't manipulate for our own selfish needs certain things, because it's all very, very, very protected from the collectives. So it's not someone's little 3D ego coming in and tweaking things for their needs and desires. It's, it's well protected. And so while you're looking at the whole, all of your years and different boxes in one room, while you think you can go in and edit it, you're really there with your guides and those people who organize your life contracts to be able to make sure it is for the best for all. And while we know that what may be the best for me may not be the best for you, it's all purposeful, as they say, right? So as you can feel, there is so much going on right now, and it's very exciting times. They're wanting you to know that salt is really important right now. While we're drinking water, they're wanting you to get pure salt. So it's either Himalayan salt or a sea salt. If you're unsure if your sea salt or your Himalayan salt's been tampered with, they're saying, bless some water, mix the salt in with some water and let it sit out and allow things to evaporate and reuse the salt that way, or just bless the salt and trust the salt's going to heal you, because they're saying the salt is a crystal. And what are we all merging into? Crystalline bodies. And so they're wanting you to start nurturing and feeding the crystalline body. And so if you're craving salts, I have been, and I thought that this was really frustrating because I kept wanting salty potato chips. And it wasn't until the session that they alluded me to understand why. why. And so they're not wanting me to eat the potatoes because it's full of freaking carbs, which is the devil. For me, it is. Anyway, they're saying that the salt was really important because it is helping balance. So as we are wanting to find balance and not notice so much the hard ascension symptoms, they're saying the salt is the key because it's the fuel for each of your cells, the right crystalline body cells. And as many people are noticing the change between the sort of like the failing of their 3D bodies and the shutting down of their 3D bodies, they are also noticing the upliftment and the alignments and the new crystalline bodies that are sort of merging. And so it's quite discombobulating when you have the starting of the splitting of the bodies, and a lot of really in tune people are noticing this and starting to be really unsettled within self because they're like, what is happening to my bodies? So yeah, there's lots going on there. So do not dismiss anything that your bodies are doing. Feel into them and notice into them. But potentially don't freak out and run to a doctor, because unless a doctor knows exactly what ascension symptoms are and what a crystalline body is, you're wasting your money and time potentially. And then you may be coerced into doing something that your body doesn't actually need. So trust your guides, ask your guides to guide you to the most appropriate service and place for you to be reassured that your body is well. Trust your teams, know you and know what's going on and can support you in the best ways. And it seems like lots of people who are spiritual keep forgetting to have trust and faith in their teams. Your teams aren't like, having snacks and gossiping and not focusing on their jobs. They are very, very, very diligent. They are watching you like hawks right now, and they're helping you like hawks right now. And whoever is still worried that there is something wrong with them, where is your trust and faith in your teams? Because you should be trying to connect in with them and trust, and don't dismiss whatever you're getting. I know that, we want to sometimes not want to believe that we're shifting and, we can have the rest of our lives here as we want to and have our normal lives and our normal routines and all this sort of stuff. But for some people now, it's really unavoidable to not notice the changes. And so it can look really scary, and I'm really sorry for those people who are having profound changes within their bodies, because when we don't have a manual with these bodies, it gets freaky, right? And we rush to the doctors thinking that they're going to help us, and that just adds more confusion to us when they don't know what's going on with our bodies. And then they want to label it things that we don't even feel like it really defines us. We know ourselves more than any other person right now, right? So why are you surrendering and giving faith and trust to other people when you should be able to have faith and trust in yourself, in your higher teams and in your guides? And these are the reasons why we want you to have those sessions, is what they feel like they're saying to me very firmly. And so you're not only helping yourself, you're helping all of the other versions of self from all the other lifetimes, from potentially the parallel lifetimes you're having. These sessions heal. This is a time for healing. This is a profound time for healing. And a lot of people are being pressurized to focus on healing. And many people want to just be distracted and just live in their now moment of this lifetime. And yes, we have to focus on our now moment of this lifetime, but we also need to be able to be doing the inner work to be able to heal it all as well. There's a lot going on. This is not a hobby. And this is what a lot of people just give up and don't want to listen and don't want to keep going because it just feels like it's never ending. Life is never ending. We're constantly learning. Even after we shift, we're constantly learning. We're constantly reviewing our lives, our decisions, our reactions, the way that we are all connected into one and how it all impacts each other. So lots and lots to be said. I'm going to listen back to this session and see if there's anything else I need to share with you. But I highly recommend all people to have their sessions. And even if you've had a session a few months ago, why not have another one? For practitioners, why don't you have more sessions yourself and get, real true clarity of the questions that you have? Often, we're so much focused on being of service to others, we forget to have service to self. And that is not helping your other clients, because we need to be the best alignment and the best attuned and the best prepared and equipped to be able to understand what is going on very soon. So, and even right now, because it's extraordinary times right now. So for those people who are really ready to go and are like, are we there yet? Yes, my friends. Yes, my friends. So if you are bored and wanting to know what you can do to help, they're saying, speak your truth, share your truth, because you're needing to trigger people into a different perspective. And so even though they have shunned you and shamed you and denied you for your truth and your thoughts, maybe even just about reincarnation or something else, we are needing to really speak our voices now, speak our truths. And so those little seeds are so powerful right now, because they may not have been ready to hear it before, but today they may be. And so never give up on them. Never be afraid that they're going to react in the same ways that they did the last time you tried. We change dramatically overnight, daily, hourly. And so please don't give up on your friends that you think should be able to start having conversations with you and start respecting your perspective of things. You may not always agree, and that's totally fine, but there must be respect. And when you love your friends and want to help your friends, and you respect them and show them how much you love them and how much you respect them, naturally that would encourage them to give you the same. If they do reject you and shun you and upset you and offend you, that's not fantastic, and, shame on them. But that's just where they're at. They're still hurting people because they're hurt, they're confused, they're disorientated, and they're still in denial. And that within themselves causes this massive friction. So anytime someone wants to confront them or challenge them or try to help them and reach into them, they will snap and be prickly cactuses, So there's that. Okay, wow. Good luck with unpacking all of that, my friends. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And yes, absolutely, love yourselves, love each other, find some good salts, Epsom salts for baths, really honor the body that we're in now, because this seems to be really helpful to be able to help the transition faster. And a lot of people that are feeling really unwell and uncool with themselves, it's because the 3D bodies are starting to shut down. Even though that sounds really scary and not so fantastic, it's purposeful. And then the 5D body, the crystalline body that's starting to merge and wants to come back and come into line, is wanting to have that transition. So it starts off small. And we've heard in sessions about people not having smell and taste, and noticing that they're not actually breathing as much as they were, and their digestion system stopped, not stopped, but really slowing down to the point where you want to have food because that's your natural routine, but then when you eat the food, it just sits there and does not feel good at all. There's reasons for that, there's significance for that, there's purposeful for that. So blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm going to stop because I just feel like I'm still in this hypo mood and there's just way too much. And often they're giving me the sense that it's way too much information still, and people are missing big components because it's just too much. So this is why we're supposed to do smaller sessions. So pardon me for it. So they're also saying that when you grow with the information and accept and process the information, the other sessions that I've done on this channel are still really valid. And so when you listen back to it, you'll be able to hear it with new ears in a better way. So they're wanting you really to step up. And it's not because of their desires or needs for themselves. They're wanting this for you. So they're giving you this information and this insight and this wisdom now for you. Take it or leave it. But they're really wanting you to be able to be of service, to follow your life contract and your life mission here now. Okay. Have a great day. Love you guys so much.